Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, what I like to do is to create videos that I would have found helpful when I first got out looking for treasure about 4 years ago now, I think. I'd have to look at my calendar, but yeah, I think it was about 4 years ago this summer. I now do a lot of looking for things like gold and silver, which is what this video is about today. This is just stuff that I've found over the past week or maybe past 4 days. Whenever I get enough of a treasure accumulation to do a video like this, that's what I'll be doing. So I'll just try to put these out regularly for you folks. What we'll go through is all the different things I found, what I paid for them, and then we have a scale here. We'll weigh them up. We'll sort of see if we did okay. Obviously, I'm prior to making this channel, I would really only ever pay like $1 for anything. However, I have found, since I've been out looking a little bit more, thinking about things from a larger perspective, particularly because of the fine comments that you folks have been leaving. I have ventured out from the thrift shops and the garage sales to things like antique stores. And I'm finding that there are things in antique stores that I did not expect. And there's some real treasures for cheap, not pennies cheap, but still definitely underpriced. So we're going to talk about these pieces as we go through here. We'll start with this one. This actually might be familiar to some of you folks because I did a series of videos where I did some sorting for one of the local charities, and they were much more appreciative of it than I thought. They gifted me this for doing all that sorting. Apparently that stuff had been sitting there for years and just piling up and piling up and piling up, and they didn't really have anyone to do it. So when I was able to actually just plow through and get everything sorted out, it was actually a bigger help than I thought it was. I thought I was getting a favor done for me to be able to dig through a bunch of silverware, but it turns out they were very happy. So they gifted me this spoon, and I just love this spoon. I love the hand engraving, and it's a great example of the type of thing that you want to grab if you see things in a silverware bin, because you've got this nice black, silver tarnish here, and you've got this bowl. If you look at it, it's almost got like how to explain it exactly. It's a tone you won't see on the other pieces of silverware. It's almost like a yellowish tone. Now, this particular piece, as you can see here, they really just went all out when they engraved this. It's all hand engraved. They just did a huge amount of work on this thing. Now, this thing was floating around in a silverware bin, so you can see some things that are odd. Like when you're looking at a piece like this, sometimes you'll see like verdigris on it, and that's actually from the other silverware in the bin, or rather not the silverware in the bin, rather the silver plate that's in the bin. So just because a piece like this looks like it might have some signs of having had copper on it, it was just that there was copper against it. Now, one of the cool things about this one is that it is silver, but it's probably not sterling. The 3 towers mark, not to be confused with the 2 towers mark. The 2 towers mark is a silver plate mark. The 3 towers mark is a solid silver mark. And I think it's generally at least 825, so 82%. I'd have to double check that. But it's a Danish mark. And the nice thing about these Danish marks is they date them for you. See how you get that nice 12 right there? So that'll tell you this one is 1912. So they don't really mess around with their hallmarks in terms of dating. So we have 1912. We have, I believe this is the city that it was made in. I haven't looked this up. I think CBJ here is the maker. And I'm not sure who these initials are. But I just quite love this spoon. And they knew that I liked it, and it was a gift to me. So we'll move on from that one real quick. Now we'll just go ahead and do the silverware here as we go through. I grabbed this. This was had been sitting in one of the antique shops, I guess for a while, and it was marked. I can't remember what they had it marked at originally, but they had it marked down to $10. And I thought, you know what? I bet there's $10 worth of silver in this. And more importantly, I liked it because I really enjoy using this stuff for the holidays. So let's see, did we get $10 of silver when we paid $10 for this? So silver's, roughly $1 a gram. Sterling's roughly $1 a gram at this point. Let's see. There we go. 17 grams. So we paid about, we paid $10 for about $17, which, if you're a silver stacker, that's a pretty dang good way to do it. And you know what? This is higher silver content than this. This junk silver, which it's not really junk, it's just old American money. What do we have here? This one I've never weighed a 50-cent piece. Weighs in at 12 grams. But this is 90% silver, whereas this is 92.5% silver. I guess the question is, if you're stacking silver and you can buy it at less than spot, why are you paying a premium on this? It's just a question for you stackers. I understand that this is money and this is easier to change, but if you're just squirreling away a bunch of silver anyways, why not be grabbing this stuff, using it at Christmas, enjoying it, and it's still silver. Maybe you can't trade it in for quite as much as you could trade this in for, but if you're getting it at significantly under spot anyways, why does that bother you? Just a question for the stackers who watch my channel. All right, so that piece is going to be used. I think it's for like olives or pickles. I'm going to use it for pickles, but someone can tell me what this little sort of stabby implement is for. I'm sure there are a lot of folks who know way more about the silverware than I do. Now, I also grabbed this piece. This one was marked $9, and I just love these Scandinavian pieces. This particular one, I believe, is Norwegian. I think it's Norwegian. And you see it has 830S, which is 830 silver. Now, a lot of this 830 silver that I've found when we test it out actually tests out as 925. But 830 was the standard that they had to mark things as. So even if they were using 925, they would say it was 830S, which is 83% silver versus 92.5% silver. So now here's a question for you stackers: how do you feel about ambiguity? Because you would weigh this up as 830, 83% silver, but it might turn out to be 92.5% silver. All right, so this one's going to be a little less than $1 a gram, but let's see, did we do okay for our $9? We were at 26 grams, so we well over doubled our money on this puppy. I feel like that is a good way to buy silver, and more importantly, we will be using this probably for like cranberry sauce. Looks like a good cranberry sauce spoon. What do you folks think? It's definitely a nice little sort of serving spoon. Okay, I guess we'll do the rings last. Got this at a antique store. Now, the reason I've started to haunt these antique malls now, if you saw, I had a previous video where I found a concho belt for $48. It was about 140 grams of silver. So pretty good buy, I think. Silver at a third of spot, roughly. So I started looking a little bit more. And I paid $25 for this. And I wasn't certain that it was silver. And you can see sort of that like pattern on there. This thing was filthy. I don't know what was going on with it. It you ever had to clean something that's been around like a greasy stove, and like grease splattered on it, but then like lint got stuck to it, so it kind of has that, you can see this pattern that I'm talking about. This thing had been sitting somewhere bad, and it was filthy. I didn't polish it at all. I just scrubbed it up with some Dawn and a toothbrush, and all that stuff came right off. Now, the reason I bought it was because I thought, well, maybe that's a problem. Maybe this isn't actually silver, but it was $25. And I had to know what this mark meant. I still haven't figured out what this mark means. I just grabbed this yesterday. I think maybe Hopi. I'm not sure who made this. But one of the things I did like was I liked that we're seeing all the marks coming through. We're seeing very good signs of tarnish on the back. And then you might be seeing it. I don't know if, yeah, there, you see that right there? 150. Now, I didn't spot this at the store, but at one point, this buckle had $150 on it. And yeah, it was not a cheap buckle when somebody wrote that on there. But it was a cheap buckle when I bought it. It was $25. And I thought, you know what? At $25, I bet you somebody who just likes buckles like this will buy it off of me, even if it turns out to be nickel silver. But man, it did not look like nickel silver. It looked absolutely, with this tarnish and the toning on the back, it looked for all the world like sterling. Now, it's not marked as sterling, and that happens with a fair bit of this silver. And I think if you can start to spot, you know, because nickel silver doesn't do this. Nickel silver doesn't take on this tone that you see. Nickel silver doesn't take on this kind of tarnish. Now, silver plate will take on this kind of tarnish, but that's why what you look for when you pick up a piece like this is you look at the high edges and you check to see if, you know, we have two different materials. Do we have silver on the top, which is taking on this tarnish, and then nickel silver underneath? And in this case, the answer is no. I've tested it on the stone. It tests out as solid silver. And we will, including in this video, I'm actually going to be able to hit the pawn shop. So we'll throw this on the XRF machine. And at the end of this video, I'll have a little addendum, which is XRF results on this. And this ring here, which we'll talk about in a second. So, but this is sterling. It'll come out as sterling. Now, the question is, did we do okay for our $25? And I think the answer is probably yes. This thing is a little chunky. Flip that on. I think this scale's working better for these videos, isn't it? It actually like shows up. All right, so what do we got here? We've got, oh, get this out of the way. All right. We have 46. So, you know, $45 for a $25. Not too bad, just from a silver stacking perspective. Now, I would also suspect that this has a little bit more value than that. Obviously, somebody bought it at 150 or something close to 150 at one point in the past. So it's not that this is going to get melted down. This is going to end up in the hands of somebody who really loves it, I'm sure, down the line. Okay, so we hit one garage sale. I don't really get to go to many garage sales, but I actually hit one at the end of the day on Sunday one time. And the guy just had a bunch of like little bits and bobs. He had a little dollar bin, and these were both in it. I thought, oh, you know what? A little bit of silver for $1 with a nice stone in there and a fun mark to look up. I haven't looked this one up yet, but I'm guessing that it's what, Navajo or Hopi, maybe Navajo. I thought, you know what? Let's see. It was $1. Did we get $1 worth of silver? Maybe not. Probably not. Hey, we got $1 worth of silver out of there. Cool. But I thought it would be fun. I like looking up the marks. Unfortunately, it's just the one. Now, this was the other $1 spent, and this was, I think, a better buy. So I think what we're looking at there is we're looking at opals. And I don't know what kind of opals they are, but we're also looking at gold. Looks like 14 karat. Maybe 10. hard to say with that mark. I can see the K pretty well. We'll go ahead and test this on the stone real quick in a moment here. But you know what? It's always fun to find a little bit of gold, and opals are just too cool. I just love opals. So I think it was $1 well spent. I'm guessing that's a diamond in the middle. In fact, we can test that. Maybe. Might be a little too small for me to actually get my tester in there. But yeah, it was a big surprise to me to be able to grab a little pendant like that. Now I don't know how much this weighs. Probably not much. Half a gram. Not sure how much gold is in there. You know, maybe 1/4 gram. But a 1/4 gram of gold for $1. No complaining there. And this is a real good example of why you always want to, if you're looking at a jewelry table at a garage sale, get real close. Look at the details. Look at the little bits, because you know I think this is probably going to be something my daughter's going to want eventually, and I think it's always worth grabbing gold for cheap when you can find it. Okay, we'll talk about this one real quick. I bought this, and you will know by the end of the video if this is what this is. I threw this on the gem tester, and it tested out as, correct my pronunciation please in the comments, Tourmaline? Is it Tourmaline or is it Tourmaline? I found both pronunciations online, so I think that's what it is. It went in there's a range for garnet, tourmaline, and iolite on my tester, and that's what this stone tested out as. So I'm not sure which of those three it is, although I feel like we can eliminate garnet. And it looked like when I did a little research that iolite maybe not. So yeah. Now the reason I bought this ring, and I probably how should I admit this? I got a little excited and I needed to bring it home because of these markings. And I just needed to know. So I plunked down my $49 for it, which is probably overpaying, definitely overpaying from a metal perspective if it's silver. But it had a marking on it that it was going to drive me crazy if I didn't answer it. So I plunked down my price of admission, and you can see here maybe why I decided to pay $49 for it. If my phone will, oh come on, there we go. Nope, there we go. See how it says $9.50 there? So $9.50 is a classic platinum marking, and I did not see signs on this of typical silver tarnish. Now that could mean that it's been polished, but it wasn't very clean. I actually washed this thing in the sink and didn't find any tarnish underneath there. So my hope is that this one is platinum. Now by the end of the video, you'll know, if my camera can focus. Come on, camera. What are we doing? Okay, camera's having a hard time today. By the end of the video, you will know, because I will have visited the pawn shop and we will have had this on the XRF machine. Now I'm going to insert a picture I took through my kid's bug microscope to show you what the other marking is. And the other marking plus the $9.50 are what made me just have to pay the price of admission for finding out about this. So yeah, I think that's a duck, and it says maybe GP. And I thought, oh, is that a platinum mark? And I couldn't find anything on my phone, and well, I had to come home with it. So cross your fingers that this is platinum. As of filming this right now, I don't know if this is platinum or silver. I suspect my luck isn't good enough that it's platinum. And also, I don't really know what the value of the stone is. It's a chonker of a stone, and it's very pretty, and it's very sparkly, and it's very shiny. But I don't know really what the value of that is, and if somebody would have set a stone like that in platinum, or just gone with a silver. I also don't know what the other mark means exactly. The only thing that I found that was maybe is that there was an old Swiss mark of a duck that would indicate sterling. So maybe this is a Swiss ring, but stay tuned to the end of the video and we'll find out if that's platinum. Now, we have a couple other things here. You probably noticed I have these $16 bags. I don't know exactly what was going on with this. One of the thrift shops had somebody who doesn't normally do jewelry dumped a bunch of jewelry into the case in these bags, and I'm not certain exactly what the deal was, like it had already been sorted or something. They were unsure at the counter, but I went through them and there was some gold in there, so I thought, oh well, that's cool. And I thought, you know what we'll do is we'll come home, we'll drop the $16 on each of these, and we'll see. So let's find out, did I do okay? Now, I would have bought this one regardless. And the reason I would have bought this one is because it is old. Look at, you can see that where the remains of the engraving are. So this is all carved on the outside. But on the inside we have some markings. And in particular, we have, they're worn markings, but we have 6622. And then we have the all-important 18K. Now, I don't think this is 1822 because that 18K mark does not look like something that would have been done back in 1822. I'm guessing 1922. And I think this was a lady's wedding band that she wore her whole life. I mean, realistically, to get this kind of wear on it. That was worn and worn and worn and worn. And I think that's just super cool. I haven't been able to make out the rest of the markings. They're very worn. We can actually maybe try to do that in a future video. I'm going to have to really just sit down with a bright light and a loupe and try to puzzle things out. Maybe I can do it through, I've got a zoom in lens here. If anyone's interested, leave a comment. We'll see if we can't do a video where we actually try to puzzle it out together. I'll see if I can actually show that. But right now what I'd like to do is figure out, did I buy $16 worth of gold or did I overpay for this? So we are at 1.78. Now this is 18 karat gold. So we have 1.75. Gold is like 100 and we'll say 105. I know it's slightly more than that a gram, but we'll say 105. So times 105 times 0.75, because again, 18 karat gold is 75% gold, equals $137. So it's bought, we got $130 worth of gold for 16 bucks. I'll do that all day. Now, this other one is interesting. Now, it's sadly missing one stone, but this is a good example when you see something like this where the stones are actually set in, like that, and the stones are actually held in place by the metal itself. And that kind of scratchy look to it without actually having exposed any kind of other base metal. These are great signs that you're looking at a little bit of gold. Now, in this case, too, if we do a little zoom in here, I think what you'll see right here is right there. Oh, no, it's right there. If my camera can do it. Come on, camera. You are having a hard time today, aren't you? No, maybe it's not there. The markings on this one are a little hard to see. But, oh, yeah, there it is. Now, this one's funny because it actually has the K before. So it says, like, K10 in there, I believe. Maybe it says 10K. But it is 10 karat. Missing a stone, 10 karat. Now, we'll see. Did we get 16 bucks worth of gold in this ring? We'll just assume that the diamonds, well, we'll verify their diamonds in a second. We'll assume they're worth their weight in gold here. So we are at 1.35. Now, of course, this one was 75% gold, but being 10 karat, that's only 41.6% gold. So we're at 1.35 times, we're going to go with our 105 per gram number. 105 equals times 0.416, 58. So we got about 50 bucks worth of gold here. And that really, I think, also tells you if you find 18 karat, be excited. If you find 10 karat, temper your excitement just slightly, because there is a big difference between the gold content between those two. But I will definitely pay $16 for 50 bucks worth of gold. And I did, and I'm happy that I did. Now, we'll bust out the gem tester here. Well, I haven't checked to see if these are diamonds yet. And also, maybe we'll be able to do this one, and maybe we'll be able to do this one again on camera for you. All right, just a moment. Okay, we are up and calibrated. Let's see if we can do this little one first right here. Yep, got a little diamond in the middle there. Very cool. All right, let's do this one next, and you folks can see where this goes. So, you know what? I've washed it, and now it's going higher than it did. Now we're in quartz, citrine, amethyst, tanzanite, aqua. So, folks that use these gem testers, if you could tell me what's going on here. And there, it's in that lower range. Maybe it's got to be dead center. So I'm not sure. There we go. Maybe that first one was just having a harder time with it. There, it's back in the... Okay, this is the range that it was testing in properly for me yesterday. Garnet, tourmaline, iolite, as you can see there. So, yeah, and the stone, I think you can see it has kind of like a little yellowish, greenish tint to it. It's pretty, it's interesting. All right, so that's that, and then we're gonna check this guy right here. We'll start with the big stone, because I assume if the big one's good. Okay. We know this thing's happy with diamonds, so I think we're... CZ's probably in this 10 karat. Or just straight up glass, according to my gem tester. And that is definitely something to keep in mind with 10 karat, is that you can get good stones, but usually you end up with not like, even if they are diamonds, they're probably not going to be good ones. Here, let's do it on this diamond real quick just to make sure that I haven't somehow decalibrated. Yeah, I mean, look what a diamond does right there. So that's a diamond. That goes like gangbusters. Whereas on this one with the big stone, it just goes... Okay, gem tester. It just goes up to something. All right, I don't know. Glass, yeah. So, again, gem people, if you can tell me what's going on with these, that I'm guessing, well, we know it's not diamonds. So maybe CZs, if that's how CZs show up on this thing. And this, I don't know. Maybe it definitely goes up into that. Now it's happy to go higher. Don't know. Let's try it one more time. Yeah, there we go. That makes more sense. That's the more consistent reading I've been getting off of this stone. So, all right, with that, I will finish up this section of the video. I'm going to go visit the pawn shop and stay tuned for the XRF results. And we're back from the pawn shop. Sterling, this little guy is 14 karat. And, oh, also found that in my pocket. I grabbed this the other day. I'm not sure what kind of stone it is, but I liked it. And it tested as the silver, so I thought that was kind of cool. It's not like the highest quality little thing, but it's a cool rock for sure. I'm not sure what kind of stone it is. Took a nice polish, whatever it was. It's got a really nice pattern on it. I thought that was worth $1 at one of the thrift shops the other day. Apparently, not so much that I remembered that it was in my pocket, but there you go. And then this guy. So this was all kind of expected. This, though, I'm not sure. And I think maybe you can see the color of the stone a little bit better in this light. I'm not sure. So it came out, so the 950 doesn't stand for 950 platinum. It's 950 silver. It was just under 95% silver. So it is actually a silver ring with tourmaline, or I guess I'll have to look up what iolite is. But yeah, I still think it's a pretty neat ring, and I think that the mark there, the little duck, actually does indicate that it's Swiss. And somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on that. But the best thing I've been able to find about that is that that's what that mark means. But I thought it was a very, very cool ring. Probably overpaid for it, but whatever. I have learned some things, and most importantly, I hope you've learned something. And I hope that you can use this information to go out and find yourself some treasure.
Like this, I've been Thomas.